Once again, good afternoon, everyone, Dhamma friends, in the form of novices and then upasikas, brahmachari upasikas. There are two types of upasikas, brahmachari and kamabhogi. So during the time that you are spending here, you're going to be brahmachari, celibate upasikas. So there's a difference between upasikas. Upasakas, kamabhogi upasaka, kamabhogi upasika, brahmachari upasaka, brahmachari upasika, novices, samanera, right? And then bhikkhus, all right. So let's pay respect to the Buddha before we get started. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. You've been listening to many Dhamma talks already, yeah? How many Dhamma talks you've been listening to so far? You started off the Novitiate program on Saturday. I think Saturday itself was the date of the beginning of many talks, isn't it? Yes. Saturday 1, then Sunday 3, 4, Monday 3, 7, and today probably 8. And this is going to be the 9th. All right. So, how have you been feeling so far? I mean, you had a certain purpose before you came over here, right? I wanted to become a upasika. I would say brahmachari upasika, and you all wanted to be samaneras. So, have you been feeling the bliss that you were expecting before? Should be, yeah? Supposed to be, should be. Okay. So, the topic, as you can see, is the Buddha as a therapist. That's not my chosen topic. It was the Vihara's one, but it's good. In a way, we can discuss this term first, therapist, right? The nice thing is that I have given some notes, so you can follow up later, see. So don't need to write everything, right? So the main things have been given, kind of bullet points. First of all, let's learn something about the word called therapy. Now the word therapy, as you know, it is an English term, which is always I would say similar to many other English words: care, treatment, therapy, intervention. Now these are very psychological, psychotherapeutic terms. Now I always emphasize the fact that when you learn Dhamma, you should be always giving more attention to the context of Pali. Because English has its own interpretations, right? Now, this upasika has been asking me about her name, Saddha. And I came also on the same Saddha-anusari elevator just now, looking at Saddha-anusari, faith what? Yeah, faith follower, right? Saddha-anusari. Saddha-anusari, Dhamma-anusari. These are two status of people who are on the verge of becoming Sotapanna. Right? They are people who are becoming Sotapannas, probably potential Sotapannas. They are not Sotapannas yet. But the word Saddha-anusari has more about Saddha. But Dhammanusari has Saddha plus some Dhamma knowledge. As you can see, there are some devotees who only go to the Vihara shrine hall and then offer flowers and then place some chopsticks, but they also can become Sotapannas. True Saddhanusari method. But there are some others who need a bit of some knowledge, some Dhamma knowledge. So they learn. So after learning a certain level of Dhamma, only they can become Sotapannas. Some people, they become enlightened, I would say, Sotapannas just by the devotion, dedication. Some others have to, learn quite a bit more. It is like how you pay tax, right? The poor people pay almost no tax, and the rich ones have to pay a little bit more tax, probably more tax. But everybody pays tax, right? Everybody is responsible by the government laws about taxation. But nobody is bad, because everyone has his or her own way. So you can't say everybody, hey, come here and learn some Dhamma. You should listen to Dhamma talk. So everyone has different ways. So Saddha, the word Saddha means not exactly faith. The reason is that faith has a Christian meaning attached to that, like a very loaded Christian meaning attached to that. What is it? The kind of the confidence that you must put on the God, and you cannot change it, and you cannot decide upon it, and you cannot criticize. You cannot do your own inquiry about that, whatever the confidence. So, but if you look at the Buddhist suttas, like many suttas, Chanki Sutta, and many other suttas in the Anguttara Nikaya about Saddha, you see that the kind of the Saddha that the Buddha is talking about includes Akaravati, an inquiry-based trust. You are not simply driven by somebody's impressions, right? Now you see, when you get to know people outside, you feel highly impressed just in a moment of time, just in a short time. Maybe your personal investigation about that person is right, maybe not. So if there is any what you call trust that goes without an inquiry, is called as Amolika Saddha. We have a whiteboard too, right? Interesting. Amolika Saddha and Akaravati Saddha. All right. Maybe we can write certain things. Is writing helpful? Sometimes helpful. All right. Saddha. And it is further classified into two sections. We call it Amolika and very small. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for telling me that. All right. The same thing. Probably I can write it from my laptop too. You can see on the both sides. So Saddha has two parts. Amolika Saddha, baseless Saddha, and then inquiry-based Saddha. Right? So Buddha asks us to look into the inquiry. That inquiry might not be a very serious inquiry, but you need some sort of your own standards to do that. So when you say faith, faith itself does not open up to inquiry. That is the problem. That is why I say Saddha could not be translated as faith. It is because on one side the Christian interpretation, on the other hand it is the Buddhist interpretation too. We would rather take it as trust, unwavering trust in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So there are many other terms that we have to look into as such about translations. All right. Therapist, as I said earlier, therapist, the word therapist is mostly taken from a background of psychotherapy. You cannot simply contrast Buddha onto a version of a therapist, onto a function of a therapist. But because we are working with modern day concepts, modern day people, so we will pick it up in a different way and see what does the concept of the Buddha, what the teachings of the Buddha can do to this particular concept. First, I want you to think about psychotherapy. Now, the proper wording is psychotherapy, not therapy, right? Psychotherapy. This is a quotation from Mayo Clinic, not mine. Psychotherapy is an approach for treating mental health issues by talking with a psychologist, psychiatrist, or another mental health provider. It is also known as talk therapy, counseling, psychosocial therapy, or simply therapy. So this means that there is a therapist, there's a client, and the therapist is going to talk to the client by following the ethics and whatever other interventions. There are many interventions that you can see under psychotherapy. I think we probably need to take a look of the names of these therapies, then we will have a better understanding about Buddhist part too. So these are the fundamental things that they are looking at in their psychotherapeutic approaches: anxiety disorders, mood disorders, addictions, eating disorders, personality disorders, and schizophrenia. Actually, all these are part of the what you call dukkha concept, right? If you take one by one, they all are rooted in the concept of the dukkha, right? And then the methods. Yeah. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps you identify unhealthy negative beliefs and behaviors and learn healthier coping skills. This is more about awareness. You are trying to be aware about you. And then dialectical behavior therapy, another type of CBT, behavioral skills to help you handle stress. Behavioral skills that you have to change your behavior, right? And manage your emotions, handle stress, and interrelationship stuff. Acceptance and commitment therapy. You are going to accept your emotions, your feelings. This is more about satipatthanas, right? More about our samma sati concept, right? Psychodynamic and psychoanalysis therapies, which focus on increasing your awareness of thoughts, same satipatthanas, and behaviors that you may not be aware of. These therapies help you find out what motivates you and help you resolve conflicts. Interpersonal psychotherapy, which focuses on problems with your relationships with people to improve how you relate to others, such as family, friends, and co-workers. Now, as you can see, that this is more about how you're going to maintain your relationships with regard to handling different problems about your relationships to others. Supportive psychotherapy, which means improving your ability to cope with stress and difficulties. Now you can see that if you take the Buddha as a therapist, and if the therapist's role is to help out people with these methods, and which have lots of satipatthanas approach, probably other mindfulness supportives, then definitely you can call the Buddha as the most, probably the most ancient psychotherapist. But the nice thing is that he's more than a psychotherapist. Now, in modern day psychotherapeutic role, they are just doing a job after getting their license. But if you understand what you call therapist in the form of the Buddha in the form of a therapist. He has done a lot of things, and his what you call his role, his expertise spans over many other things. It's not about psychotherapy. Have you ever found out some scientists who may have done sort of Buddhist type of research, case studies about psychotherapy so far? One of the very early scientists was what you call, what was his name? Huh? Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, not a Buddhist one. He was more into unconsciousness that will happen to you, and he was more into the workings of the mind when the mind is unconscious, when you are unconscious. But if you see Ian Stevenson, the US-based one, you may have seen that there are lots of works he may have done. He did while he went to Sri Lanka. During his time in Sri Lanka, he did 1,000 case studies about different people with probably hypnotism. And then they started saying about their past life, right? That was a very interesting research. Most of the people, they passed away in the same country, in different places, and then they were reborn. But the whole science does not back up these ideas. These are some isolated researches in science. So we call it PLT, past life therapy. Remember that there was one very famous hypnotist. What was his name? Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, not a very modern one. Probably he lived in 70s, 60s, 50s. He did some work about this hypnotism which related to the past life, and then cure people's problems, especially some pain-related problems. Now there was one woman who was hypnotized, and then he had a chronic back pain. She had a chronic back pain, and no doctor could fix that issue, the back pain. And then after he hypnotized this lady, she started saying a story that happened in, I would say, probably in the Europe, maybe in Austria. There was a time that some kings, let lions to eat humans on a stage. That people were watching how the lions were eating people alive. And she was one of them in the audience. So she was happily watching how the lions were eating those humans alive. So that happiness, that joy that she had by watching, she didn't do anything. She was just enjoying somebody else's akusala. Interesting thing, right? Now we talk about people do akusala. There is someone who doesn't do akusala, but enjoying how other people do akusala. It's also terrible bad karma. That's why, so the moments when the lion's going to tear off the back of the humans, she was happily looking at that thing. And then she revealed all what she had done. That's what she has been going through now. That karmic effect. And then through hypnotism, then Edgar Cayce was able to say, now we could know the reason. Now we could find out a proper treatment for this lady. This is a sansaric issue, right? So psychotherapy can span over modern, ancient, right? Like that. It can span over to many other areas. Now, let's come to the Buddhist side. What do you think about the Buddhist teachings? The entire Buddhist teaching is a form of therapy, isn't it? Now, maybe I'm going to ask you, probably one by one, just to know, because your names are also displayed. I think because that helps me to ask. Maybe that is why the names were there. Right. Yes, so they are very apparent. Okay, we'll start from maybe, Mudita, Sister Mudita. Yes, don't worry about these things. You can go to the blog post anytime. Huh? This blog post is on the internet. So don't waste time to write down. All right? If there is something new I'm telling you, just write down. Right? All right, Sister Mudita. Right? May I ask you the meaning of your name? Mudita? Rejoice people's happiness. People can be happy in many ways. People's happiness is not always moral, isn't it? Right? So then how do you interpret your name? Some people are happy by doing unnecessary things, wrong things too. So are we supposed to be happy by watching them? So how do you interpret mudita? Supramundane happiness. I don't think we can find such people to be happy, right? Yes. So in order to be happy in that way, we have to find out supramundane people, arahants and so forth. But mudita is also a secular state of mind.
Yes.
So what is the meaning of mudita? Mudita means unselfish joy. Unselfish joy, which is based on moral things.
Yes.
Yes. Otherwise, we now see that lady who was happy about some other sakusala. That's kind of bad mudita, right? Not good mudita, bad mudita. Right? It's bad one. Yes. So, what do you think about the Buddha's teachings? And you must have been reading a lot, right? In the last many years. What do you think? Are the Buddha's teachings more about therapy or something else? Short-term therapy or long-term therapy, or what is it about?
It's a long-term therapy that leads to Nibbana.
Oh, okay, good.
It teaches the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Noble Path, and the three moral training to attain the four stages of Sainthood: Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arhanta.
Good. So it is clear that the Buddha's teachings are exclusively about a permanent therapy. Now there are different therapies, right? Now if you are looking for some therapies in different places, there are short-term therapies and permanent therapies. You can get permanent therapies. What kind of permanent therapies can you get? No, that is on spiritual level. Now there are short-term therapies and long-term therapies, permanent therapies. So Buddhism is more about a permanent therapy, permanent treatment to our issues. But you can still pick certain sections for short-term things too. Questions can vary for each one, so we'll carry on. So the most important therapy that we know in Buddhism is none other than what? The only therapy that we have in Buddhism. You might call Sila, Samadhi, Panya, Paramita, so and so forth. But there's only one main teaching. That is the main therapy that we are trying to follow. We are trying to learn. We are trying to put into practice. What it is? I have given the answer within the brackets. What is this? The Noble Eightfold Path. This is the main therapy in Buddhism. Main one. The main one. Others are small, minor things, but they are also helpful. You have to practice them too in a way. But this is the main treatment main intervention, the main treatment to your, what do you call, issues. Dukkha, the main therapy to the dukkhas. All right. That is an attitude. It is not the practice, it is an attitude. And now, every time we do anything, we have to bring anicca, dukkha, anatta. But your practice is the Noble Eightfold Path. I think people sort of get confused with bunch of teachings, right? Anicca, dukkha, anatta, there's nothing you can do with that, right? It's just an attitude. You have to always think that my metta is also anicca. My karuna, mudita, upekka also anicca. But samma ditti, samma sankappa, vacha, kammanta, ajivayama, sati samadhi, they are your practice. They are what you are supposed to do. Without doing those 8, you won't be able to do anything as a therapy in Buddhism. And you won't be able to be blessed with the Buddha's treatment. Highest therapy in Buddhism. Now let me ask you, what is the only therapy? What is the highest therapy in Buddhism? Sister Maya? Subha? Sister Subha? The Noble Eightfold Path. Right? Noble Eightfold Path. Let me ask probably, how do you call? We call Venerable Suman. Okay, so why is the Noble Eightfold Path very important?
It provides a gradual teachings that can support follower to achieve.
Can somebody pass this? This is a mic, so it's good for other people to hear too. So whenever you answer, you can. This one too. Like this. Why is Noble Eightfold Path important?
I think it provides a gradual, systematic way for follower
To the Nibbana. Great. Gradual, systematic improvement to the Nibbana. I think we have to understand that. You won't get a degree in 1 year, right? First year, second year, third year, fourth year. PhD, first year, second year, third year, or fourth year. Right? So it's a gradual path. Right? And what are the other things we can understand about the Noble Eightfold Path? Venerable Chandana?
It's a moral compass.
It's a moral
Moral compass. So when you
compass.
Yeah, when you follow these steps, when everybody follow these steps, the world is good. The world is a very good place to live. So for me, it's a moral compass.
Moral compass. Okay, such a good answer. All right, so we can discuss that in details later. Can we consider the Buddha to be the greatest psychologist? We can. More than a psychologist. He is more than a general psychologist. Because, why do I say so? Why do we have to think so? Now, we have to learn how he handled people. How did he accept people? Now there is someone who is going to see him, who is going to meet him. How did he manage that moment of time? Somebody is coming from the door over here. If the Buddha is not now, yes, I'm assuming the Buddha's time. The Buddha is here, and then somebody is coming from the door. And then how did the Buddha welcome him over? It is said he is the first one to talk, start the conversation. Samma, what do you call, Pubba Bhasi. We call it Pubba Bhasi. Pubba means before, bhasi means talk. He does not let other people talk. He has to welcome, because people are coming to see him. So he has to talk first. Right? And then pubbahasi. Pubbahasi means the first to smile, to welcome that person. Now, can we consider the Buddha to be the greatest? He understands. So when the Buddha is smiling with the person, when the Buddha is going to talk to that person feels welcome. And then that person thinks that this is the solution for my problem. Right? Now, this is not about the knowledge. This is about how to handle somebody. Now, we will learn a lot of stories at the end. So, he's such a very therapeutic, right? Sometimes you might think that listening to, there is somebody who wants to talk to you about his or her problem. He or she does not want to have a solution from you. He or she just wants to talk to you. He or she does not expect any answer from you. That listening is a therapy. So the Buddha here, and Buddha sometimes was silent, sometimes talk. Now here, what we understand is that the Buddha is the first one to smile when someone is coming from afar. The Buddha is the first one to start a conversation when somebody is coming to see him. What a pleasant psychological attitude someone has, right? It's not like you go to see a psychologist, but psychologist has more problems than you. And you get very bothered by that feeling. How come he's going to solve my problem? Right? Or maybe you have diabetes, you go to the doctor's place, but the doctor also has diabetes. Say, I also take the same medication, you also take. You know? I found somebody in Sri Lanka lately, you know. The patient was very confused about, so doctor, what about this medication? Don't worry, I also take 2. So you take 3. Right? Anyways, so this understanding about the patient now here, therapist and patient. If Buddha is the therapist, then the client is the person who is coming from afar. Now he is first welcoming them from afar, giving a good smile, welcoming that person, and then to talk to that person. So there are many other aspects you can see about being a psychologist. Listening to the client, being patient. We will be discussing them later. But I want to say he is the greatest psychologist, more than a psychologist, but from a point of psychology. Can we consider the Buddha to be the greatest physician, therapist all of time? Yes, he is. Psychologist might be somebody who is giving advices. Psychotherapist might be somebody who is giving the actual treatments. So these are two things. It's like a theorist. A theorist, someone who talks about the theory, and there is someone who talks about the practice, theory and practice. This is very interesting. It's like science and technology. Science is the knowledge, and technology is the process where you see the practice. What is the disease that the Buddha identified and told us about? What is it? The answer is dukkha. That is the only disorder. You could say, I have bipolar, I have anxiety orders, I have other orders, mood orders, but finally all they come down to dukkha. Dukkha is the only one. Now we have come to a very good point, very good topic at this moment. What is dukkha? If dukkha is the main disorder, problem that we are going through on a daily basis, what can we do? How do we understand dukkha? Now, there is a translation problem also, right? There is a very big translation problem. A lot of people translate dukkha to be suffering. What do you think about it? Maybe we're going to be asking somebody, maybe Venerable Sivali. Venerable Sivali is going to answer. What does dukkha? I would say.
The other definition is unsatisfied
Unsatisfactoriness. That's a better translation. Yeah. What does dukkha mean to you? Very complicated question, huh? Should be able to answer. That's why I'm here, right? To find the happiness. Maybe we're going to be asking, if you already answered, by Venerable Chandaratana. Huh? Your words are too small. Yes. Yes. What does dukkha mean to you?
Dukkha mean to me, yeah. That's why I'm here.
Definitely. We all are here.
For me, is to find myself. Why am I being born? What is my purpose to be here? And the world is such chaotic to me. Especially with current event. So I find it's not worthy to be alive. I mean, basically that's my dukkha means when I see that things are impermanent, but why I know it's impermanent, but I still attach to it. So
That's how you perceive dukkha.
I want to find a way how to overcome this.
Okay, good. Can you pass the mic to the... Yeah. And your name, Venerable? Venerable Vimala. Okay. What do you think about a translation spanning between suffering, dissatisfaction, unsatisfactoriness, pain? There are many translations about dukkha. Which one would you pick? Unsatisfactoriness. Why? That means all dukkha is not exclusively suffering, isn't it? Right?
There are many things in life that make us unsatisfactory, make us not happy.
You can't find any, can you even hardly find some happiness?
Yeah.
You can find some happiness.
Yeah. In life,
Examples?
getting a present.
Staying present, huh?
Getting a present from friends.
Okay.
Holiday, temporary happiness.
That's a moment of happiness.
Yeah.
What if the friend is not gonna give the present next year?
Disappointed.
Disappointed. The dukkha now slowly arising, huh? You're gonna call up that person, hey, you didn't give me a present this time. All right, good. All right, so you can pass to the next one. What's your name, Venerable? Abhaya. Oh, you are the fearless, huh? You are not scared of any questions. Okay. So now we've been discussing about the dukkha. We already discussed about the meaning of the dukkha, I mean English translation and the definition. What is the scope of dukkha? Frustration, now Bhante, Venerable Chandaratana mentioned about jati, why he was born. Now, next to you was talking about a frustration kind of dukkha. What could be the degree of the dukkha? Do you understand a minimal level of dukkha and then the higher level of dukkha? The span. Now we have to go to Dhamma Chakkapavatana Sutta, right? Or Satcha Vibhanga Sutta. I have actually given them here. You can take a look later. You can see these links. Now Dhamma Chakkapavatana Sutta and Satcha Vibhanga Sutta mentions about the scope of dukkha. How far you're gonna be going into the dukkha. It starts from a simple frustration, disappointment, and it can go to some of the bigger questions. Why was I born? Why am I getting sick? Why am I aging? And what else? Why am I going to die? Right? So in this definition about the scope of the dukkha, do you have any thoughts of how you perceive dukkha? What is the scope of dukkha?
To me, scope of dukkha is something like happy and sad, expectation.
You
just
nail it down very well. Happy, unhappy. I'm switching between happy, unhappy states of mind. Yeah, and and we also have some bigger levels of dukkha, like panchakanda dukkha. Panchakanda, 5 aggregates. When we cling to the panchakanda, that is where all the dukkha arises. Now, jati, jara, vyadi, marana, they are process type of dukkha. The raw dukkha, you can see the food, raw food, like organic food, and the processed one. So I would say the frustration, separation from the loved ones, being with the people we don't like to be with, they are process type of dukkha. They are offshoots of that raw dukkha. The natural organic dukkha is the clinging to the aggregates, 5 aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vinyana. So that is a higher level of dukkha where we have to investigate them. All right. So dukkha. So this is the only disorder, disease that the Buddha identified in his teachings. So when somebody asks you, if Buddha is a therapist, what problem was he trying to solve? What problem was he teaching us to solve? Dukkha. Dukkha is the problem. All right. Then what is the therapy for that disorder, illness? I'm tricking the question now. Eightfold Noble Path. Noble Eightfold Path. That is the only answer. Not Anicca Dukkha Anatta mentality. Because when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, they are complementary. Anicca Dukkha Anatta mentality is complementary. Right? The practice is the Noble Eightfold Path. What are the techniques for healing that can be used? Now, healing is you are going to overcome your own dukkha. That means definitely the 8 path factors are the techniques. Now, let's do a sort of understanding, make an understanding about the Noble Eightfold Path factors. Maybe you can be asking from some upasikas here. They are showing the Dharma Chakra, Sila. All right. So can you pass the mic to one of them? Probably, yes. Both mics, huh? All right. So the method or technique or the therapy, the only therapy that we can address our dukkha is what you call the Noble Eightfold Path. So then, what is the first technique that we are going to follow in the Noble Eightfold Path? Samma Ditti. Samma Ditti. Somebody Samma Ditti? Can we ask some others too? What's your name, sister? Sumeda. Sister Sumeda.
Yes.
What does Samma Ditti mean to you?
I mean, by definition, it's a right view.
Right view. Right view. Now it's a very, then again it goes into another section to understand. Do we have views in our life?
Yes.
What are the views do we carry every day? Cultural views. If you come from a culture, you have your own cultural views. That culture, this culture, the way you eat, how you think, the way you celebrate, right? Everything is attached to that. Do we have political views? We may have. Do we have apolitical views? We may also have those apolitical views. We may not have a political idea about, just because we are very frustrated about the politicians. Do we have world views about the world, wars, conflicts, humanity, environment, climate problem, better generations, right? Universe, we have. But what are the most terrible views that we are carrying? Views about us and other people. Now, if you learn some Abhidhamma, it's not mandatory. Abhidhamma clearly says that certain akusalas are part of certain akusala roots. That means all the akusalas, they are part of lobha dosa moha. So if you bring that analogy here, what do you think? Which bracket is a part of ditti? How do you relate ditti to? Is ditti attached to dosa or lobha or moha? Moha is the root that we all do, what you call akusalas. But there are certain akusalas, they are only bracketed into certain akusala roots. That means when you have lobha, you don't have a dosa at that moment in the Abhidhamma. When you have dosa and it is in a certain moment, in that moment you don't have dosa. You may switch between. But in one moment, if there is lobha, then this is not dosa. It is said in Abhidhamma, ditti is a part of lobha. Why is it? When you carry a ditti view, that means you are greedy about your own view. You're going to defend that view. You're going to defend you because you have that view. Right? You are going to defend that. You not only defend you, you are defending the people who carry that view. If you are an activist, if you are a politician, my people, don't trouble my friends, right? My followers. The Buddha says, ditti comes from lobha. So then, you understand the problem here. In order someone to get into the Noble Eightfold Path, one has to have a complete cleansing about one's own views. Then what could be a healthy way of practicing views? There are 10 types of views that we have to practice according to Buddhism. So there are 10 things I would tell you. Trusting about dana, understanding the karma, right? And then taking care of your mother, considering your mother is a special person, considering your father is a special person, and believing in the contemplatives who have been practicing meditation for long term. And then you are approaching them to ask questions about what is kusala, what is akusala. There are 10 things. Maybe I can share with you later. Yeah, that's, you mean the place? They are given in one sutta called Maha Chattarisaka Sutta. I can give you the link later. This is the same class that I've been doing here at Buddhist Maha Vihara. Every Monday, I have been actually teaching them this sutta, Dhammacakka Sutta. You can see Samadhi. It goes to that place. The 10 wrong views. We're going to be looking at that now. So good views, huh? Yeah, this is the link. See that one? You can see here. The right view comes in two versions. One is for the Putujjanas, unenlightened people. The other one is being practiced by the Arahants and so forth. You can see here in the pink color, the first one is there is merit in giving dana. There is merit in giving large dana. There is merit in small offerings. Why the dana has been given in 3 ways? These are 3 ways as to how people give dana. Some people give dana. Some people just merely give dana. Some people can afford giving bigger danas. Some people can afford only giving small danas just because they cannot afford. The fourth one is believing in karma. This is the most important understanding about Sammaditi in Buddhism. Because if you believe in karma, you will not do any wrong thing, any akusala. You won't talk bad words, you won't think bad thoughts, you won't do any bad actions. But every moment, just think to yourself, in the past, if you may have done a akusala, that was a moment of, that was an unmindful moment of karma concept. If you had known that karma works, karma exists, you would have never done that particular bad karma. Every moment that you made akusala, that was a moment where karma was absent in your mindset. Every moment that you may have done a akusala in the past was a moment, supposedly, that you forgot about the karma. Because if you had paid attention to karma, you would have never done akusala. Because you know that this would create lots of vipakas, results.
Karma vipaka. But I think you're saying that the current experiences is due to the moment that we created the akusala. Are you saying?
No. That is a different context. I was saying, if you want to investigate your past akusala moments, in the past, we may have done akusalas. In this life, even before your novitiate program. Let's say you lied, you told a lie or something like that. So the moment that you did that was a moment of absence of this karma understanding. That if you had this karma knowledge, this fourth one, this fourth samadhi part, you would have never done that akusala. That is why this is so important, right? So everybody who does bad karmas, they have this, what you call, issue about samadhi. So they have micchaditi. The fifth one is mother is a special person. Why mother matters in my Dhamma path, in your Dhamma path, in this therapy, in this only one practice? Because of the gratitude. Gratitude really matters, right? Because the Buddha said there are three punya khetas. One is mother, one is father, one is sangha. But a lot of people, they go after sangha only. I always say, you take care of your mom and dad at home. Then only think about the sangha. Maybe simultaneously. Sometimes their mother, father suffering a lot. They are not even thinking about how they eat today, whether they had their breakfast, lunch, dinner, whether they are, taken care in a certain way. But they go to temples and take care of monks for their own spiritual journey. That is wrong, because the Buddha says, you will never go to practice Dhamma. You will do your own Dhamma practice, which is not Dhamma practice, your imagined Dhamma practice. This is what the Buddha said. The Buddha said, you have to think all the time, yeah, my mom is a special person. Of course, there may be issues. Some people might be struggling, some mothers, some fathers. And the relationship that some children have with them could be a little rocky. It could be, because not everyone is born into a very good family. Right? But it's okay. You do your part. Doesn't matter about how they respond to you. Do your part. One day you're going to be alone. They're going to be dying. Right? Do your part so you are not unhappy. You know that I did my best according to these teachings. Today you know, treating mother is a special person and father is a special person, part of my samadhi practice. Then, there is this world, there is other world. That means, this life and next life, part of karma too. And then the ninth one is, there are spontaneously reborn beings. Who are they? Spontaneously reborn. There are 4 types of beings that are born in this universe, according to Buddhism, right? One is andaja, egg born. There are beings who are born out of eggs. Who are they?
Snakes.
Some snakes, not all snakes. Huh? Yes, chicken, yeah. Then, second type of beings, the type of, the way how they are born is based on the womb. We call them jala bhuja. Andaja is the egg born. Second is jala bhuja. That means from a womb. We were born out of wombs of mothers. Jala bhuja. Third part is sansedaja. Sansedaja means from the airwater. No, sansedaja means from putrid places, some dirty places because of the amalgamation of certain dirty things. There are some snakes that are born out of some certain, they have no mother, they just born. They're just born because of the amalgamation of certain dirty things. Maybe some coconut shell, maybe some water, maybe germs, yeah, bacteria, right? Like that. Some say that. The fourth category is Opapathika. This is the category here. Spontaneously reborn beings. There are spontaneously reborn. There are beings who are reborn without egg-born context, womb-born context, or amalgamation of dirty things context. They are reborn without the assistance of mother, father. Who are they? Deva. Do Deva have mother, father? Brahma? Sons. Same. Yeah. Otherwise we have to born with our mother in the hell. Huh? Very bad. if the mother did the same thing like we did. Petas. Now the good beings and bad beings, we can take that way. All they are born spontaneously. The final thing about the Sammaditthi, making Sammaditthi in your life is believing that there are ascetics or maybe wise people, monks, monastics, or others who develop special powers through direct knowledge meditation. So the Sammasati is direct knowledge. You are directly understanding what it is, how the clarity means to you, right? You are not asking from someone, how does it look like? So these are the 10 things that you must practice in order to start off your Sammaditthi practice. On the other hand, someone has practiced this already, also practiced the rest of the 7 path practice, now become an Arahant already. Even after becoming an Arahant, Arahants and others also have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path in 10 ways. As you can see here, Arahants practice Noble Eightfold Path, adding 2 more path factors. We call them Samma Jnana, Samma Vimutti. So you can't practice them now. You only practice the Eightfold Noble Path, Noble Eightfold Path. All right, Maha Chattarisaka Sutta, MN 117. It's a very interesting sutta. It's about the Noble Eightfold Path. If you really want to understand the Noble Eightfold Path, you must then learn what you call Majjhima Nikayas. Majjhima Nikayas 117. All right, let's go back. At the end of this discussion talk, I will be sharing all these links. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the way they are born is because of
maybe there may be some bacteria who may have a different way of organism, but if any being is born without the parental assistance, but not egg-born, not womb-born, they could be a part of the third way of being born. Some say that.
So is bacteria a being?
Yeah.
It is a being.
Yes, living organism, right?
But it's not a sentient being. Can we say that?
No, they are sentient beings.
They are sentient beings.
They are sentient beings. I will back up this thing with a sutta reference now. Huh? Okay, now this goes to a very interesting conversation. Can you give the mic to her? What did you say? Take the small mic too. The small mic too.
I mean, after you mentioned, my question is that if that's the case, can we kill bacteria?
All right. Now there is a sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya or Anguttara Nikaya. In this sutta, Buddha talks about, Buddha actually answers to someone who was posing some accusations about him. There was one man who came to the Buddha, his name was Vachchagotta. He said to the Buddha, Bhante, other people are discussing outside about you this way, that you had told them that if you want to offer dana, you should only pick me. You cannot give dana to other teachers like Purana Kassapa, Makkali Gosala, all these very famous teachers from the Shramana tradition, not the Brahman. There are two traditions at that time, the Brahmin tradition and the Shramana tradition. Shramana traditions people, they are wearing robes like this, right? So you are telling that only you are the perfect fit for the dana. If, and also you had told them, according to what they say, if you cannot find me because I'm traveling, then you should give dana to my disciples, monastics. And then the Buddha said, I have never told like that. Have you ever heard this from some monastics, that you should only give dana to monks? Huh? Have you ever heard any monastic saying, if it is dana, you must give only to the Sangha? If you hear that, it's wrong. Because Buddha says, that's not my teaching. When the opportunity arises, then you are going to give to whoever near you. Maybe the Sangha, maybe people that who you want to give. It depends on the opportunity. If you are in the temple, if you are in a monastery, if you have a connection, then you do that practice. And you are going to make every moment an opportunity to be generous. Not pick up certain people. So the Buddha said, I have never told like that. My view about dana is this. Very interesting. The Buddha says, Yepite chandanikayava oligalleva pana tatrapiyo saravadovanangva chaddeya. The translation is this. If someone, after having lunch or whatever the meal, is going to now rinse one's own plate. There were two places at that time. One is Chandanikaya, other one is Oligalla. These are two places, I could call them as sewages. Two types of sewages at that time. The water is building up. Probably the dirty water is like you see the sewage on the streets. But this person is thinking this way. If there are any micro-organisms, micro-beings who are living in this water, which I cannot see, which you cannot see, if they can, may they be able to survive, sustain from the water, the rinsed water, probably the water that is going into them with the leftover of the food. If they can survive, may they survive. That is the minimum place of my dana, starting point of my dana. Now, if you are somebody who just merely go and rinse your plates, think about that is the first place of your dana. If Buddha characterized that this is dana, then those animals should be sentient beings. If we characterize that there is a wish that someone can make, may any microorganisms living in this sewage water, surviving on these food that cannot be seen, going to depend on these food, that means they are beings. That is the starting point, the bare minimum level of your dana. Now I think that answers your question. Other question is, can we kill the bacteria? We are not going to kill the bacteria, we are taking the meds.
So it's a prevention.
Right? We're taking the meds. That's a very good question actually. Now, there is a police person, law enforcement, who is called for a domestic violent house. He has to go, or she has to go. And then there is a situation that he cannot talk to them. Maybe they are so violent. So he may have to use the extra power to protect the vulnerable person in that household. There's somebody who is going to stab the other person, but before he's going to stab, the officer has to use the extra force. You see, physically that person is killing somebody, but that is to stabilize the peace. Now you're getting, let's say you're getting a cough. So you think that, okay, may all the bacteria, virus in this cough be always well and happy. I wouldn't take any cough syrup. No syrup, nothing. May they survive well. Now the problem is, what is more important, human life or that life? All life is important. But at that point, you must pick the human life. right? Now, don't take it wrong, because the Buddha says that depending on the person who you are making the activity, your vipakas will be multiplied, double, quadruple, right? Let's say if somebody is going to do a bad thing to a very good person, you're getting immediate bad karma. That does not encourage you to do bad things. That is how the karma works. If somebody does the wrong thing to a bad person, dussila person, someone who has bad sila, karma will take time. So that context tells us that we have to pick the right choice. That means we are not simply following karma, we are understanding how to live, because I have to live, right? And on the other hand, if you don't take the medicine, you are taking your life in a way. You are killing yourself. You will be dying if you don't take medicines, because you are not your purpose is I have to be healthy first, not that you killing bacteria. So the idea that killing comes from Jain people. The Jains at that time, or the Buddha, they did not physically kill any being. Once they found out we are not going to drink water drawn from the rivers and lakes, instead of that, we're going to boil the water and then drink. They didn't know that they are killing organism in the water by heating the water, right? But they did so. They are not walking, they are always sweeping the floor. Buddha said, this is very, unpractical. Can you sweep the floor and walk? When you are driving, can you sweep the highway and freeway and then drive your vehicle? That is not going to be practical. So we have to understand about bacteria and virus in that way. So we are going to create very conscious, practical choices, right? But if somebody take the medication, I'm going to kill my bacteria, that is papa. If your main intention is that, but if you have the intention to be, I want to cure myself, otherwise I cannot be a good person to other people, I cannot take care of my family, that's a good intention. All right, so I think we have been discussing a lot of things because of Sammaditthi, because Sammaditthi is the starting point. Without Sammaditthi, your nothing is going to work. Now, I will tell you a very interesting thing. Along the path factors, along your path, you will find out your speech. Second is your intentions, Samma Sankappa. Your Sankappa will not be good Sankappa unless you don't have right view. Because your views are bad. So your Sankappa also will be bad. What about your speech? If your views are not good, if your views are not, ditti are not good, then what's going to happen? Your words that you are going to speak are going to be bad also. This is the starting point. If you had not started your Dhamma path from Sammaditthi, the rest will be a mess. Now I come to the very interesting point. Sati, Samma Sati, that's the seventh factor. There are people who don't know this mechanism, this path. They directly go to a meditation retreat and now they start practicing meditation. Is it going to work for them? Why? The Buddha said, you cannot practice meditation as a standalone practice. It is tied into this Noble Eightfold Path. It's a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It's not separated from the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? If you want to practice the proper meditation, you should first cleanse your views first, and your intentions, and your speech, and your actions, and your way of living, and your effort, and then you will have the opportunity to practice meditation in the proper way. Very interesting. Now the monks in the Western countries, they are having a very hard time. Huh? Why? You know why is it? They say Western people are turning into Buddhism a lot. But if you check that, it's good in a way. At the same time, if you're going to talk about the proper path of the meditation, nobody will come to the meditation. Why is it? You don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do comes from the sila. Sila. Before the meditation, you must have sila. Otherwise, you cannot practice meditation. Why is it? You might have a relaxation. If you want a relaxation, you can go to a massage shop. But Buddhist meditation, I mean, they may do their own meditation, but I mean, I'm talking about the Buddhist one. They are having a hard time because most Westerners don't like to say what to do, what not to do, especially about their character, behavior. But some would like. Now the flow is a little getting better. So you cannot practice meditation without the rest of the 6 path factors. So now you know the therapist, the Buddha, if the Buddha is the most important, significant therapist, his only therapy is the Noble Eightfold Path. You must practice these path factors one by one, starting from the Sammaditthi. But after you practice these 8 path factors to a certain extent, then you will practice the 8 path factors at the same time, simultaneously, right? Otherwise, people might think, now December, maybe January, I practice Sammaditthi. Chinese New Year, I will practice Samma Sankappa. March, I might be practicing Samma Vacha. Then you will take 8 months for this. That's not going to work. So you already have a certain practice, so you can practice them in a short period of time and then practice together. I'm not going to discuss all these 8 Noble Eightfold Path factors. You can see in one blog I have given, as you can see here. Yes. Oh, sorry about that.
I want to look at you directly, like.
How is it now? Good? Okay, great. All right. So this is the blog post which you can consult later, which has all the information about the Noble Eightfold Path factors, starting from the text of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and all the Noble Path factors. All right, let's go back again here. Now the next question is going to be, why is it necessary to cure ourselves of dukkha? Why is it necessary? Maybe a question to somebody. Maybe we can ask from Saddha, Pasika Saddha, about it. Why is it necessary?
To my understanding, my limited understanding, Bhante, we need to cure ourselves from this disorder because we do not want to reborn again.
Okay.
It's
about the rebirth?
Yeah, we do not want to go through this samsaric world again and again and again. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So samsaric rebirth. So that means in order to stop the samsaric rebirth. Do you know what will happen when you stop that?
Sorry?
What do you think about what will happen to you when you stop it?
I hope to go to a better place than coming back here.
All right. Yeah, that is what we see in the text, which means to do an ending, put an end to what you call the mass of dukkha. Thereby, you will be able to have the greatest benefits of this treatment. Therapy, what you call by the Noble Eightfold Path. All right. Now we are going into the primary suttas for understanding the therapeutic nature of Buddhist teachings. I have picked 3 suttas, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 5, 6, 11, and Saccavibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 141, and Salleka Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 8. Oh, I have chosen 5 suttas. Roga Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.157, Chula Malunkyaputta Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 63. So Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is the main sutta about dukkha, but it's not very much detail about the dukkha. The greatest details about the dukkha comes in the Satcha Vibhanga Sutta. This was given by Arahant Sariputta. You can read everything over there. Salleka Sutta is very interesting. In this sutta, Buddha talks about a particular Pali word called Salleka. Salleka means cutting the defilements. The Buddha talks about many ways, I would say more than 30 ways I would say 44 ways to practice therapy. Maybe we can go and see what they are, just to get an idea. There are 5 Nikayas under the Sutta Pitaka, but only the first 4 Nikayas are considered as the early Buddhism. Early Buddhism means a true Buddhism. Early Buddhism and Theravada are 2 things. They are not same. Huh? Not exclusively Theravada. There's a misconception that early Buddhism is 100% Theravada. I think we can discuss it a little bit about early Buddhism and Theravada a little bit. Now, there is a section what we understand by early Buddhism, which means the original teachings of the Buddha. Where are you finding those teachings? In the first 4 Nikayas, Diga, Majjhima, Sangyutta and Anguttara Nikayas. Abhidhamma is not early Buddhism. Abhidhamma is Theravada addition. That's why you should never learn Abhidhamma in the first place. Yes, don't learn. Because a lot of people ask me when I do sutta studies that they have questions about the methodology of the sutta studies. Because there are people who pick this sutta, that sutta, and they only teach that particular sutta. One sutta cannot be understood without many other relevant suttas. Why is it? Pali language offers many meanings to even one Pali word. If you take this example, Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatyang. What is it? A stock expression at the beginning of every sutta. Evang me sutang, I have heard this. Thus is a very old. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava. Samayang. Samaya means time. In this context, time. But in Pali, samaya has 9 meanings. Just that word alone has 9 meanings. Now, how people like you go and read the text without learning a little bit of some many suttas? You are not able to read it. That's why I always say, if you really want to get the best out of a sutta discussion, you must be able to think in Pali. Think in Pali, not think in English. English goes in English way. The approachability of English language is only talking to a certain level. But, I mean, we all start from English, yes. Except me. I start from my own language. So, in order for you to understand any sutta, the first thing to understand is that you cannot study only that sutta to understand the particular teaching in that sutta. You have to learn several other suttas about the same subject appearing in the same Nikaya or in other Nikayas. Right? Now you might be thinking, I should go to a Pali class. Will that help you? Tell me. Now people might be thinking technically, then Pali class. Sutta class not enough, then Pali class. Will that work? That's not going to work. Let me tell you. Now they go to a language class. Now, Dhamma class is here, Sutta class, then they go to a language class. Then what will happen? They are teaching mostly from the language. One example, Manusso Rukhamha Patati, the man falls from the tree. Vanaro Rukhamha Davati, The monkey, runs from one tree to another tree. And now you will study this for maybe 7, 8 years, come back, you're getting old and you don't have enough time to learn Dhamma. Right? The older you get, the more difficult to understand Dhamma, right? Physically, you are not capable to do that. You can't even sit down on the floor. Right? Then what did the Buddha say? Buddha said, you have to follow one good teacher. Maybe a couple other good teachers. How did the Buddha say so? If you really want to become a Sotapanna, you must follow 4 things. We call them as 4 requisites. They are given in the Sotapatti Sangyutta of the Sangyutta Nikaya. Sotapatti Sangyutta is a whole section about becoming a Sotapanna under the Sangyutta Nikaya. In that section, Buddha says there are 4 things you must practice. They are mandatory. The first one, Parato Gosha, listening to others. Listening to the true Dhamma speaker. Now let me ask you, is listening to Dhamma optional or mandatory? Mandatory. Now I said the answer already. I'm asking again. But some people think, no, listening to Dhamma is one people's job. I go to meditate. What are you going to meditate? How you meditate without knowing the Dhamma? It won't work for you. You will have a relaxation. You will be happy. If your house is a mess, you will be happy coming to the temple and then going to a forest. That is not the Buddhist path. Then I am going to relate that Pali learning to this thing. When you learn from the right teacher, then you will know all the things about Pali. You are cutting that long process in that. That is why the Buddha said, learn Dhamma from a teacher who has a thorough understanding about Pali, especially about the contextual language about the Pali, how these suttas work in different suttas. Because one sutta is attached to many other suttas about the meaning, about the understanding. Second is Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention is very important. The Buddha says, this is why we are doing akusalas. Every time you do an akusala means that you don't have wise attention. You are not thinking everything as such. Then you are creating lobha dosa moha. Third thing is, you don't have enough kalyana mittas to practice. This is mandatory also. Wise attention also mandatory. Third thing is, you don't have enough, maybe you don't have kalyana mittas at all. You are only self-inspired. You learn, you read books on internet. I call them actually Buddhists who became Buddhists by learning through internet. Internet Buddhist. Right. That's a pretty embarrassing term, but that is what happens to many. Well, I mean, that could be a source of learning, but it might not be taking you to the right place. Right? So, Kalyana Mittas. Why is self-inspiration, self-motivation not enough? Why is not enough? Self-inspiration can give us certain motivation. But in order for us to maintain our Dhamma path, Dhamma journey, we need to be surrounded by other Kalyana Mittas. Now you think about, now you've been here since Saturday, when you see the Samaneras and your other friends, you get more motivated because of them. When you sit with other people to meditate, when you learn with other people to do whatever your other good things, then that gives you the best support. So, Kalyana Mittas are mandatory. How many Kalyana Mittas should we have? Must we have? As many as we can, huh? But at the... Kalyana Mittas? I don't think we can have too many Kalyana Mittas. They are not around us a lot. They are too busy in their practice. So, I'm going to explain that now. Yes. The Buddha said in one sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya that we must have at least 2 Kalyana Mittas. At the very least 2 Kalyana Mittas. Now you think about whether you have 2 Kalyana Mittas. Yes. Yeah, that's his question too. Yeah.
Is it relevant that we have other than Bhante as a Kalyana
Yeah, I'm going to explain that too. The Buddha said, you all have one Kalyana Mitta already. Who is that? Huh? That's you? The Buddha. The Buddha. The Buddha said that we must have two Kalyana Mittas at the very least. One is the Buddha. Because of the Buddha, we are into this. We are learning, that is why we are respecting, we are being grateful for him. Second is somebody you have to find out. Who is a Kalyana Mitta? First, let's figure out Kalyana Mitta before we naming who they are. Kalyana Mitta is someone. Yeah, that is also another translation. Now we will find out who they are. You must find out these qualities in them. Huh? If not, they are not Kalyana Mittas. Right? Because you might think that the one who is giving me a ride to the temple is a Kalyana Mitta. I don't have a car, so she. Huh? Right, buddy, yeah? All right. So, the Buddha said, in order for someone to be qualified for Kalyana Mitta, this is given in the Sevitabba Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, your friend should always speak good words. No musavada, no parusavacha, no sampappalapa, no parusavacha, pisunavacha. Avoid the whole bad speech. Trying his or her best. Trying his or her best. Second is, that person should always think good thoughts. No abhijja, no vyapada, no micchaditti. Abhijja means no extreme greed, no ill will, no wrong view, the wrong view that we discussed, the opposite of those 10. That friend should have, whatever the action that person does should be out of panatipata, killing other beings, stealing other person's stuff, and misbehaving. So if your friend has these 10 qualities as much as he could or she could, then you can consider that person is a Kalyana Mitta. Now, can you find such people easily? Can you find such people easily?
Yes.
Easily?
Yes.
Really?
Do is easy, but then thought.
Yeah. On the face value, it can be easy.
But the thoughts of the person.
Thoughts we never know. Sorry? You are so blessed. A blessed lady, a upasika. Good. So, if you have those kind of people, they are the Kalyana. So, it's mandatory to have Kalyana Mittas in order for you to become a Sotapana. Fourth one is, you answer question. So, can we consider monks, Bhantes, if they have those 10? If they have those 10, every monk, you cannot consider every monk has these 10. Right? I mean, on the face value, we regard them, but if they have, because at the Buddha's time, there were monks like Devadatta. Can you consider Devadatta Kalyana Mitta? So he's a monk. He stayed in the same temple with the Buddha, but Buddha couldn't do anything. Right? So that's the thing. So if the Bhante or whoever has these 10, if the layperson has these 10, then Kalyana Mitta. Of course, we regard monastics to be Kalyana Mittas, not because they teach Dhamma, but because they have to set an example on these 10. The fourth requirement is Dhammanudhamma Patipada. Dhammanudhamma Patipada means you are able to practice the Dhamma according to how it was exactly given in the text. Exactly given in the text. Now, why you became Samaneras during this 1 week time? You want to experience what is it to be spending time like a monk, right? You want to have this hands-on experience, not how other people are. Becoming a monk is good, you know. You want to experience by yourself. Now you understand, you know, this life, this 7-day and then upasika, you know. Yeah, so that is Dhammanudhamma Patipada. That also means being able to practice according to the Dhamma teachings, not the self-opinionated ideas of speakers. Huh? If they are only given in the text in the proper way, then yes. All right. So now the Buddha says here, according to Salleka Sutta, there are 44 things you can consider as Sallekas. You can cut your defilements. So I consider, the Buddha also considers definitely here, that this is one of the greatest therapies that someone can think about in addition to the Noble Eightfold Path. Let's take the first one. Others will be cruel, we shall not be cruel here. Salleka should be practiced thus. This is a very good idea. Other people can be cruel. Now what is normally happening in our society? When someone is cruel, you also going to be cruel to that person. Right? That is not the Buddhist way. Others will kill living beings, we shall abstain from killing beings here. Other people will kill, but I am not going to kill. Then, so it's a very interesting list. We'll pick up something over here. Others will be of wrong mindfulness, we shall be of right mindfulness. That means mindfulness has a wrong mindfulness. What is wrong mindfulness? Now it's a good question that I can ask all of you. What is wrong mindfulness? Have you ever heard this concept called wrong mindfulness? You always say, be mindful, be mindful. Never heard that people practice mindful in a wrong way, huh? Wrong mindfulness. How do we understand that? That is wrong mindfulness. I think that when people practice mindfulness, they don't call it mindfulness. They think my mindfulness has not come to a certain good level. That is why I'm still struggling with these thoughts. But why the Buddha calls something as to be wrong mindfulness? The way somebody practices meditation could be wrong. The way someone practices meditation could be wrong. Then what is that way? What is that wrong mindfulness practice? Very interesting. It is not that disturbing thoughts come to you, then there is no mindfulness at all. This is about there is someone who is practicing mindfulness in the wrong way. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yes. This is the same thing I said at the beginning. If somebody has not started the practice from Sammaditthi, then directly go to practice Sammasati, then that is called wrong mindfulness. Why? If you don't have Sammaditthi, then your mindfulness practice will be Miccha Sati, wrong mindfulness. Why? What do you think about a lot of people who practice meditation? Are they practicing to get rid of akusalas, or are they practicing just to be calm, happy for that moment? What is their focus normally? Huh?
We don't know about others.
No, what is the normal idea about the practice of meditation in the world? Just to be calm. That is not Buddhist meditation. That is not Buddhist. That is Western.
Western mindful classes, which is help them to achieve their goal. So whatever the mind can conceive and firmly believe, you can achieve. That is what a lot of training company has been actually introduced to a lot of marketing and sales.
Yeah. We call it Mac mindfulness. Business mind. Yeah, that is them. I mean, we have no problem with them because everybody can create their own version. But when it comes to, if somebody teaches meditation by adding, I'm teaching Buddhist meditation, but not incorporating the Noble Eightfold Path, that is a fake, wrong meditation, mindfulness. That one we have to emphasize. That's going to be a very big problem in the world now. There are teachers who might do this. It's Buddhist meditation, but they don't teach them Sammaditthi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama. They just say meditate, this is the Buddhist meditation. Is it a good thing or bad thing?
Right.
It's going to be a really mess up now. Messed up meditation practices. Better not to meditate then. Huh? So these are 44 ways of practice where you can cut your defilements in addition to maybe while you practice in the Noble Eightfold Path. This was given in the Salleka Sutta, so you can read that too. And then the Roga Sutta. This is an interesting sutta. Let's go to the sutta. What is that? Interface load error. All right. This happens, huh? connected, right? That's why this Wi-Fi is going up and we got the Wi-Fi, yeah. Oh yes, we are going over there now. All right, so I will explain to you indeed in short. In this sutta, Buddha says that there are two types of illnesses. One is mental, the other one is physical. I don't think we can see the sutta here, see? Yeah, we have an internet problem over here, Wi-Fi problem. Maybe some Mara's forces. All right. So the sutta says that we have two types of illnesses, physical and mental. And the Buddha also says it's very hard to see someone who has mental happiness, mental health, if that person has not attained what you call spiritual attainments. It's very hard to see. That means most of us, because we suppose we have not attained attainments, we may have different illnesses. So the Buddha says that this is also part of the therapy, because we have to then definitely follow the Noble Eightfold Path to come to that perfect happiness. Chula Malunke Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 63. In this sutta, Buddha says there is someone who was shot with an arrow by somebody, and then when the other person is going to pull that arrow out, then he said, no, don't pull it out. Before you pull out my arrow, you have to tell me who shot me, how big is the arrow, how much poison is in the arrow, and then from how far did he shoot the arrow. Then he said, leave it, I'm gonna go, right? So it is the same way how we have to look at our dukkha. When the dukkha, when there's an arrow with dukkha is shot within us, we don't have to bother very much about other things. We just have to pull it out. So the Buddha said we have to pull it out. That is the therapy. How are we going to pull it out? By practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. You can read more later. Okay, we have come down to the last 15 minutes. So now we are at a very interesting place. The stories depicting the Buddha's therapeutic approaches or methods hold greater significance in the context of imparting Dhamma to diverse individuals. Now these are stories that we see in the text in which how the Buddha perfectly sorted out different people's problems, their mental problems, their behavioral problems, as a very good therapist. First one, Kala. How many of you know this guy? Kala. Who is Kala? Kala is the son of Anathapindika, banker Anathapindika. I think you know Anathapindika, right? How many of you have been to India? How many of you? One. Okay. Okay, so what were the temples you've been there in India? Yeah, what were the temples you've been there? Bodh Gaya. You can take the mic actually, so other people can hear too. Take the both mics, huh?
Been to the Bodh Gaya temple, and then
take this mic closer to
Bodh Gaya temple and the Sarnath temple.
Saranath.
And we went to. After that, we went to Lumbini temple. There are quite a number of temples there.
Have you been to Jetavanarama?
Jetavaran, I think I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Cannot remember.
That was the place where Buddha spent almost 18 years.
Yeah.
Most of the suttas were given there. So, this Anathapindika was the one who donated that temple.
Jetavana.
Yeah, Rama. With the some money was donated by another person, Jeta.
And the prince.
Yeah, Prince Jeta, and they both donated. And then
yeah.
Anathapindika was the one who built that temple. The interesting thing is that although Anathapindika built this temple and doing a lot of things, his son was not into Dhamma. One day he devised a plan. His plan was to tell the son, you go to the temple, listen to a Dhamma talk, I give you this much money. He said, oh, yeah, money. So, so he went to the temple, sat down, and then he came back. So he got the money. On the second day, the father Anathapindika told him, okay, maybe tonight you should go to the Jetanarama, same temple. Today you're going to learn one Dhamma teaching, and then you have to tell me when you come back. So he went there that day, that night, Buddha is giving the Dhamma talk. So his plan was to take the very first Dhamma teaching and then to ignore the rest of the Dhamma talk. Right? Because he wants money. So he only wanted one Dhamma teaching. But the Buddha knew what he really is planning to do with the Dhamma talk. So he made him not catch only one Dhamma teaching. So he was not able to focus himself. So he had to listen to all parts of the Dhamma talk. Right? And then finally he became a Sotapanna. Now there are people who wanted to become monks to become Sotapanna, but this guy became a Sotapanna just for money. Yeah? I mean, these are the stories that people have to study, the real stories. And then the following day, now the Anathapindika didn't know what happened. Every morning 500 monks come to his house with the Buddha. So there are two people give dana every day. Anathapindika gives dana in the morning for 500 monks, and lunch dana also given by the King Kosala. King Kosala also gives dana in the morning. It's a royal dana in the palace. But monks don't like to go to his palace. The reason is that the king does not himself come and serve the dana. He asks people, hey, there's a monk who needs some water, go serve him. Some rice. So monks didn't like him. But Anathapindika goes everywhere. He's a very friendly person. He asks every monk, what do you want? So the bhikkhus like him very much. So at the end of the dana, now Anathapindika thought, I'm going to give the son money at that point in front of the Buddha. Then he is now trying to give the money. Then the son told us stanza. This is in the Dhammapada 2. Patavya eka rajjena saggassa gamanenawa sabba lokadipachena sotapatti palangvara. Patavya eka rajjena. If anybody gives me the kingship of the whole universe, sabba lokadipachena. If I will become somebody who is the head of all the heavens, I don't need any of those. Because the Sotapatti Pala, the becoming a Sotapanna, I became a Sotapanna, that state of mind is the highest for me. And then only Anathapindika knew my son became a Sotapanna. Now the interesting thing is that how the Buddha understood the therapy. Now this is a therapy. He knew that this particular child is going to pick only one Dhamma thing. He knew how to help him. But if the Buddha stopped the Dhamma talk and asked him to come here and then, hey, the real Dhamma is you have to practice anicca, dukkha, anatta. You have to practice samma, ditti, sankappa, vacha. He would never come to attainments. Different people's attainments work in a different way. It's not in the same. It's like a class. Every student is different. Some students are catching very slowly. Some are genius, fast students. So it's a therapeutic way how he understood how to teach Dhamma. Kisa Gotami. Remember what happened to Kisa Gotami? Kisa Gotami's son passed away. And then what happened? She went to the Buddha. Maybe somebody told him and she went to the Buddha. And then what did she ask from the Buddha? Huh? What did he ask? Can you take my son's life back? What did the Buddha say? Did the Buddha say, he is dead, you have to focus anicca, you have to focus dukkha, anatta, this is Buddhism, practice samatha now, practice asubha, Now, our devotees go to very far away places to see skeletons, right? Some devotees go to very far away places to see a skeleton. Those skeletons to practice asubha bhavana. Did the Buddha say any of? What did Buddha say? Buddha knew the way, how to cure this lady. No. He said, I can recover your son's life. She was very happy. Only one answer. Don't worry, I will cure him. But on one condition. You have to bring some mustard from a house where nobody has passed away. She was very happy. Yeah, what's the problem? I'm going to go. Right? And then she started going to from house to house and knocked the door. Said, can you give me some mustard? I said, yeah, we have lots of mustard. And finally asked, did someone pass away in your house? Yeah, my grandmother passed away. This one passed away. I don't need. Right? And then when she went to many houses, she herself came to understand this is not a personal thing that happened to me. This is a universal thing that happens to everybody in this universe. How is that approach? What a therapy is that? This is what we have to understand. We cannot teach Dhamma in the same way to all the devotees also. Then Angulimala. It is the same approach. When the Buddha went to Angulimala, what did Angulimala say? Hey monk, stop. Then the Buddha said, I have stopped. You are the one who is running. And he was thinking, this very bad criminal thinking. What is he saying? I'm not running, you are running. But he's saying, I'm running, he is stopped. Oh yeah, I have been running in the samsara. He has stopped the samsara. He got that message. Right? Did you get that? If you are a criminal, can you get that message? You won't be able to get it. Yes, therapy. Patachara's husband passed away. One son was taken by a hawk or eagle. One son was, swept away with the flood. And she heard that her parents passed away, with a fire. Now her whole world has broken into pieces. And she doesn't know she wears some clothing. She's naked. And she ran into places. She found a temple and she went in naked. And then somebody is giving a talk. One Shramana. The devotees were very upset. Naked woman is coming to the temple, Dhamma Hall. I mean, what a crazy person is this? What did the Buddha say? Did the Buddha say, just go out, get out of my temple? Did he say so? You are crazy, you have no mind, you have to wear something. What did the Buddha say? Only one sentence. Sister, be mindful. The only sentence. And then she started to think about what he said. Whether she wears something, how she represents to other people, then other people threw some clothing too. She understood. She's mentally sick. How come she's going to be a normal person? She's abnormal now. Therapeutic approach. Right? If this happens to today's world, I think the woman will be beaten to death in a certain temple. That's why we have to learn from the Buddha's life. I sometimes tell people, before you learn suttas, learn the Buddha's character, life, how he handled people. Then you will have a very good understanding. Chula Pantaka? Who is that? Chula Pantaka? No, that is Chula Malunke, another person. Chula Pantaka is the brother of Arahant monk Mahapantaka. This Mahapantaka, Arahant Mahapantaka is the monk who was taking care of the Dana calendar. When somebody invites, he has to write down. He's taking down the invitations. So his brother also became a monk. But the brother could not memorize stanzas. After a couple of weeks, then the brother Mahapantaka told Arahant Chula Pantaka, you can't become a monk. You can't even memorize one single stanza. You destroy. So he was very tearful. Now he was leaving the temple. Then the Buddha saw in the morning. Then the Buddha said, ask him, why are you leaving? Then he said, because I could not memorize the stanza. My brother monk asked me to go. Then the Buddha said, this Buddha Sasana is not of different Arahant Mahapantaka. Mahapantaka was an Arahant monk. He asked the brother to go. The Buddha said, this Sasana is of the Buddha, not about these Arahants. You don't need to go. He gave a very simple thing. He gave a white cloth just to rub it against. When he is rubbing against, he saw the white cloth is getting dirty. The perfect, clear mind is getting dirty like the same way. Became an enlightened person. Even Arahants cannot guide unenlightened people. What about the unenlightened monks? What about these normal monks then? Even the Arahant Mahapantaka, who was in the Buddhist temple, could not guide his brother. Then what about the normal monks? You can't even blame a normal monk. It's a normal thing, very, very normal thing. Then, what do you call, Kema. Kema was I picked the last one because of the time. Kema was a lady. She was one of the, I think, queens of King Bimbisara. Kind of a king. And then Kema was so much attached to her beauty. So when she came to the temple, Buddha created two ladies fanning the Buddha. It is not real, but she showed her to get to an understanding. And then he also made her to see that these two ladies are slowly fading in their beauty, right? Going to different ages. And then she understood, what is my beauty? What is this beauty? This is a divine beauty. And this divine beauty has been fading over time. So I had to understand. So different people were differently approached by the Buddha. So you can, without hesitance, call the Buddha is the greatest therapist. But he's more than a greatest therapist. But I was just saying, because you understand that therapeutic practices, interventions are always being spoken by many. In that context, Buddha is definitely, undoubtedly, the greatest therapist. All right, any questions? We'll take a few minutes and then we will transfer the merits. Any questions about today for this talk, Buddha as a therapist? Tomorrow morning I have a Dhamma talk again, I think, about the Dhamma. So, yeah. But yes, can you pass the mic to the sister, what's her name? Sister Karuna, yes.
What's my question?
Yes.
Bhante,
yes, please.
I forgot what my question. Bhante, when we talk about bhava tanha and vibhava tanha, craving to be becoming and non-becoming, what is that becoming refers to?
You want to know the difference between kama tanha and bhava tanha?
Yeah.
Okay. Kama tanha means craving about our pleasures. We have rupa tanha, craving about different images. And then, yeah. And then bhava tanha means, yeah, you can take it. The bhava tanha means kama tanha means craving about 6 types of pleasures. Now, one pleasure is about rupa, second pleasure is about saddha. So we have cravings about different forms, different sounds, different smells, different tastes, different touch, different thoughts. All these are come under the kama tanha. Bhava tanha means if somebody has a craving by creating a thought that I will be better reborn in a different life. I will be better reborn in a very good life. And you are carrying that thought all the time. That is called bhava tanha. Say, for instance, someone is offering a dana thinking that may I become a deva by giving this dana. Not thinking about overcoming lobha dosa moha. The only thought is, may I become a deva in the Tusita heaven, in that heaven, in this heaven. something like that is bhavatanha. So you are creating craving to be born into next lives. So we should never think that way. We have to think that why we are doing good karmas, because we want to cut down our samsara, cut down our lobha dosa moha, so that we are not creating bhavatanha.
Bhante, if we keep thinking we want to enter the stream as a sotapanna, that is also a defilement?
No, that is called, it is not a karma. Now in Buddhism, whatever the pleasures you are seeking as branded as karma, pleasures. But whatever your spiritual attainments, spiritual thoughts are called as chanda, desire. Chanda, C-H-A-N-D-A, that is chanda. All right? Chanda means your desire to become a sotapanna. It is not related to bhavatanha. But if you want to postpone, like, I don't want to become a sotapanna in this life, I will be become a sotapanna in the next life, then you don't know what is happening next life. It might be a kind of bhavatanha, because you are creating one bhava and then on top of that creating that plan.
And then lastly, what is non-becoming? Craving for non-becoming?
Pardon me?
Vibhava tanha.
Vibhava tanha means the idea that lots of Abrahamic religions maintain, you know. Hinduism and all these religions, they're saying that there's no next life, so this is the only life. So if you think that this is the only life, I won't be reborn again, other than you are becoming an arahant, that means you have vibhava tanha. That means no belief about the karma, no belief about the vipaka. You only think that there's only one life. So most of the religious teachings are about that idea. That is vibhava tanha.
Thank you, Bhante.
All right, any more questions? Yes, please.
Bhante, just a short one. Just now you mentioned the past life therapy. Is this the same as hypnosis?
I think hypnotism does not necessarily include past life, PLT, but it is one of the ways that some psychotherapists do the past life thing. Yeah.
That means past life therapy is solely focused to bring the person's mind to go through the past life.
Now let's say there are people who want to know what happened to us in the past life.
Yes.
So the only thing that they can do is either you can have a meditative experience about that, or you are going to hypnotize that particular person if you are the qualified person. So there are people who are bringing you to the past life and finding what happened to you in a past life, just to understand there is any relationship between that past life experience and your suffering now, your pain now. Now take that lady's incident. She had a chronic back pain. So the interventionalist wanted to bring her to previous lives just to see what happened. And then he found out there was once that she was reborn in a in a country like Austria, and then she was in the audience, and she was like, and then he is trying to relate. He understood the relationship between that experience and what she is going through now. So hypnotism is not always going to treat the past. Sometimes you just go to the past, just wanted to know what was your past by asking a hypnotist about it. There are some teachers who do that, wanted to find out your past karma, just to heal yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's all, right? Any more questions? All right. So then tomorrow morning, I think we have another talk, so you can ask further questions on that. So may all the good karmas that we've been accumulating today be transferred to all the departed ones. If the departed ones were reborn in a place of suffering, may they be able to be released from those places of pain. If they are already reborn in a place of happiness, may they be able to improve that life. May they be finally able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hutu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hutu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hutu sukhita huntu ñātayo. May Devanaga Mahidika share and receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they bless and protect all of you for good health, quality of life, prosperity and safety. In particular, may they wish your spiritual journey, may your spiritual journey a smooth one, not a dry one. May Devanaga Mahidika finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya akasattha cha bummattha deva naga mahidika Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkang tuloka sasanang chirang rakkang tudesanang chirang rakkang tumang paranti. Also, may we be in the company of the Kalyana Mittas and not the Papa Mittas. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas we've been accumulating today be helpful and supportive for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vaddha pachaino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevache atu nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, that's the end of today's talk. And you'll be having another talk around 8, huh?